In the beginning of the drama, the episode begins with a blue car arriving and stopping in front of a bungalow. In the next scene, our male lead, Jian, steps out, looking at the house. Beside him is a man carrying his luggage, who says it would have been better to stay at a hotel. Jian smiles slightly and replies that this place is even closer, and he will stay in Korea for 10 days this time. Saying this, he walks inside, his steps confident yet calm. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the man with him is his uncle. As Jian explores the house, taking in every corner, his uncle suggests he should meet some friends while he is here. Jian shakes his head, saying he has no friends and is not interested in such things. Later, when his uncle asks about food, Jian says he already has plans. Meanwhile, on the street, the female lead walks with her friend. When asked if she is ready, she confirms with a small smile that yes, she has done her makeup and everything. In the next scene, Jian is seen sitting alone in a cafe, wearing sunglasses, his posture relaxed, but his gaze distant. The female lead enters, spots him alone, and smiles. She walks over and sits in front of him, introducing herself, saying he must be here for a blind date, and telling him her name is Lena, adding that she is Yeji's best friend. Jian is stunned, slowly removing his sunglasses. Memories of high school flash in his mind, Lena smiling the same way, giving him a heart-shaped letter in front of everyone. He asks her if she is really Lena. Just then, a girl named Misu arrives, and Lena realizes that she came to the wrong person for the blind date. Quickly, Lena walks over to her actual partner sitting at the back table. Misu tries to talk to Jian, mentioning that they met at Joseph's wedding, asking if he remembers her. Jian, however, only looks at Lena and thinks that, even after all this time, she hasn't changed at all. At that moment, Lena and her partner leave the cafe together. Seeing this, Jian also steps outside, but they do not notice him. He begins to wonder quietly whether she truly does not remember him. Jian sees Lena leaving in a car, glancing only at him through the mirror. She is being taken to a restaurant to eat pasta, though she wants something else. Her partner insists on pasta, saying Yeji told him not to listen to her, so she remains silent. Later, Misu asks Jian to go to a bar with her, but he refuses politely. She offers to drive him home, but he makes an excuse about not knowing the roads properly. She leaves alone. On the other hand, the boy also wanted to drop Lena home, but she refused and went alone by herself. While driving, Jian receives a call from Joseph, who asks why he rejected Misu, commenting on how cute she is. Jian shows no interest, saying he came here for work and will return after finishing quickly. Joseph calls him boring and ends the call. At a traffic signal, Jian notices Lena sitting at a bus stop, tying her long hair into a bun just like before. Memories of high school return, how she gave him a letter in front of everyone, asking if he would write a reply. He calls out to her from his car, but a bus comes between them. She sees him, but the signal turns green, so he drives on, turning back toward the bus stop. But by then, Lena wasn't there. He finds she is gone. Then, he notices a food stall on the side. Lena stands there. He walks over and orders fish cake for himself. She doesn't react. As she drinks fish broth, he asks for some for himself and then asks her if she remembers him. She smiles, saying yes, she remembers him. Jian asks why she didn't recognize him earlier. She replies lightly, saying it wouldn't have mattered. He says it has been 10 years since they last met. Lena sarcastically comments that so much time has passed and questions if he came to meet a friend since he was in the US. He says he came for work and met her first. She takes his number to give to her classmates to talk to him. While drinking broth, Jian asks if she missed him. She spits broth directly onto his clothes. Her bus arrives, so she pays the stall owner and asks them to give the remaining change to Jian so he can dry clean his coat, then rushes to catch the bus. At home, frustrated, Jian mutters that he isn't happy meeting her either, yet he glances at his phone again and wonders who remembers what happened 10 years ago. Then, the scene shifts to 10 years earlier. Jian attends Bug Dong School. He is coming inside from the bus, his foot in a plaster. As he gets off the bus, the driver tells him that there is a girl from your school sleeping behind you. Wake her up as well. So, even though he doesn't want to, he still has to go and wake her up. Together, they walk toward the school. At the gate, Lena notices teachers punishing latecomers. She forcibly holds Jian's hand and places it on her shoulder, pretending to support him while walking. The teacher scolds her for being late, but she says she was helping a friend. Jian firmly denies being her friend and hides his name badge, asking her what his name is. She doesn't know and glares at him. Jian explains it's the first time they met, and he pulls her hand free and starts leaving from there. Lena mutters that he is also late. The teacher says, Look at his foot. He has an injury on it. Now teacher checks her bag, filled with novels. They ask where his textbooks are, and Jian quietly walks past. In the next scene, Jian is in the classroom studying when he finds a novel in his bag and smiles. It turns out Lena quietly placed it there to hide it from the teacher. The scene returns to Lena, eating and calling her friend Yeji. She excitedly tells Yeji that she met Jian today. Yeji is thrilled, a little shy, asking how he is. Lena replies he is just the same as before. Yeji reminisces, saying he was her first love. She remembers school days. Yeji revealed she liked a boy named Jian. Yeji worries about confessing, and Lena motivates her that they will surely be together. Yeji tries to write a love letter for Jian, but becomes too nervous. She asks Lena to give it instead. At first, Lena refuses, but eventually agrees after insistence. In the corridor, she presents the letter in front of everyone, saying it's from Yeji. Now Yeji asks Lena about the blind date she arranged for her. Lena says the boy is like a rock, someone she would never want in her life. Lena doesn't want to discuss more and tries to end the topic by asking if Yeji wants Jian's number. Yeji falls silent. Then Lena sends Jian's number to her. The next day, Jian is in a company meeting. Then his uncle, who is the CEO of this company, enters the room, glancing at everyone and observing Jian. He introduced Jian to all the employees. After that, he invited Jian to say something, but instead of talking about himself, Jian started pointing out all the mistakes in the plan. He explained how the calculations had errors and highlighted every small flaw. Saying this, he walked into his office and lay down on the couch. His uncle, a little worried, came over and reminded him that he came to Korea for all this work. Jian replied that this decision would be better for everyone. The uncle commented sarcastically about why he was speaking like Dosen, referring to how his mother once started a company. But I'm the one managing the Korea branch, how could she possibly do it like this? And Jian said it would take a long time for him to become like her. Then Jian received a call from an unknown number. It was Yeji on the line. She asked if he knew who she was. Jian said he did. Yeji welcomed him back and explained that another friend, Sang Pil, also wanted to know about him. They planned a welcome party for him. Meanwhile, he hears Lena's voice and agreed to attend. In the evening, Yeji arrived at Sang Pil's shop. Soon Jian appeared. Sang Pil, emotional seeing him, asked about him that how he is. Yeji smiled and extended her hand for a handshake. Jian looked at Sang Pil and asked who she was. Sang Pil explained this girl is Yeji. She has completely changed her look. Sang Pil then served dishes for everyone. Yeji got slightly drunk. Sang Pil shared that he had opened a restaurant 2 years ago. Yeji revealed she was a teacher now. She noticed the time and wondered why Lena hadn't arrived yet. She was about to call her but fell asleep on the table due to the drink. Meanwhile, Lena received a message from her boss to attend a party and give a gift. She went to the party, congratulated the director, and gave the gift. As she tried to leave, they wouldn't let her go and pulled her into the party. She noticed Juno there, surrounded by congratulations for his new book sale. Her expression changed, wanting to leave. The scene returned to the restaurant, where Yeji was completely drunk, sleeping with her head on the table. At that moment, Lena arrived very drunk, and seeing Jian, she says, "Why do I keep running into you everywhere these days?" Then Sang Pil asked Jian where he lived. Jian said Kdrama. Sang told him Lena lived nearby and suggested he take her home while he would take Yeji. Later, we see Lena, still drunk, with Jian following her. Lena started recalling the first time they had met, and thinking about it made Jian laugh softly. Seeing him smile like this, she teased, saying, "You can't be Jian. He never smiles like this." Jian looked at her and replied, "So you think about me like this?" She chuckled and reminded him, "Do you remember in high school when I had secretly kept a book in your bag?" And she explained, that book said first love is precious because it happens only once. First love is like frozen food. If we don't keep it frozen, it will spoil. Through this, she indirectly warned him not to meet his first love again. Soon, Lena reached her home. She then headed upstairs. Jian was stunned because he recognized the house. Still, he followed her upstairs quietly. While she entered the password, she turned around and asked, "Are you following me?" Jian apologized shyly. The scene shifted back to high school. Jian remembered Lena sleeping while resting her hand on his. That image made him smile. The next morning, Lena woke up with messy room, groaning about drinking like a maniac the previous night. She recalled that how much she had drunk with those people, and how she went to Jian's welcome party and did all kinds of mischiefs there, and he comes to drop her home. Meanwhile, Jian was preparing hangover soup for his uncle. The uncle drank it happily and asked how things went with his crush, but Jian remained silent. At Lena's house, Yeji had arrived, asking why she came home so late. The director had forced her to stay at the party. Yeji said he had become even more handsome and mature. Lena had told Yeji to stop liking him, but she refused, continuing to leave letters for Jian. Meanwhile, Jian asked his uncle for a favor, to have the girl upstairs bring him food. His uncle reminded him he would be leaving in a few days and questioned why he wasn't spending time with his first love. Jian stayed quiet. Yeji says that her English improved so she could go to the US with Jian, spending her life with him there. Suddenly, Lena received a call from Uncle Wok, asking if she could take his niece out for a trip. She confirmed it was the same girl whose photo he had sent and assured him she could take her. The next morning, Jian quickly gets up and gets ready. Just then, Lena rings the doorbell. As soon as he opens the door, she is surprised to see him. She asks, "How are you here?" He replies, "Is there a problem with me being here?" She says, "No, I didn't expect you to come out of this door. But where is the girl?" Jian asks, "Which girl?" Lena then shows him a picture of the girl. He looks at it and says, "This is a picture of me as a child." Lena replies, "You've grown up, so now you can move around on your own." As she tries to leave, Jian says, "Are you going to break your promise again?" This makes Lena stop and agree. Lena then calls Yeji to tell her who is going with her, but Yeji's phone is busy. Meanwhile, Yeji was frustrated, thinking about Jian not being available for her Sunday plan. She was about to call Lena when her father arrived, asking her to go somewhere with him. In the car, Lena felt awkward. Jian noticed and reassured her, "Relax," and he tells her that she can treat him like a child. Now they arrived at Amazon Park. They tried several rides, laughing and shouting, enjoying every moment. She then tried to call Yeji, but she didn't pick up. Meanwhile, Yeji had gone hiking with her father, and Sunday suddenly, she twisted her ankle on a rock and nearly fell. Sun caught her, and she smiled shyly. Meanwhile, Lena and Jian were attempting the spicy ramen challenge. This time, Jian confidently declared that the winner would get one wish fulfilled. Lena smirked, agreeing, and the game began. The first bites made Jian struggle, his eyes watering, but he drank water and teased. "Remember how you couldn't even handle sang pills dish?" Lena admitted her sensitivity was due to being drunk previously. "Now you owe me a wish." Smiling, Jian nodded and promised, leading her to a serene spot where everyone had donned traditional costumes for a festival. Both changed into the traditional attire. Lena instructed Jian to take pictures of her. He began snapping dozens of photos, focusing on her face. Seeing the photos, she scolded, "No, you didn't capture me fully." While taking pictures, her bun got messy, and she had to redo her hair. Jian watched her with quiet admiration, unable to look away. He captured her, but Lena wasn't satisfied yet. "Wait, I'll show you how to take good pictures," she said. She sat down, adjusting herself lower on a bench to get the perfect angle. As she leaned, almost losing balance, Jian laughs. Lena captured him while he was smiling. Meanwhile, rain began to pour. They quickly got into the car, with Jian driving. She started praising his car randomly, pressing buttons on the seat so it reclined, but accidentally opened the window. Rain began pouring in, drenching her slightly. Jian quickly moved to close it, and in the process, they ended up very close, awkwardly silent for a moment. He handed her a tissue. When they reached her house, she stepped out, but due to heavy rain, didn't go upstairs and stopped near Jian's car. He stepped out and noticed water dripping onto her shoulder, pulling her closer to shield her. Shyly, they both stood there, slightly embarrassed. Lena noticed an umbrella nearby and grabbed it, saying she would go upstairs. Jian teased, "We'll eat fried chicken together soon," and she smiled. Meanwhile, Jian, lying on the couch, received pictures from Lena, one of which showed him smiling. He smiled in return, feeling warm. Flashback. 10 years earlier, Lena confronted Jian in the library about why he hadn't replied to her letter. Jian calmly said, "Not responding is a response too." Lena, frustrated, left. Jian remembered that whenever Lena came to give him a letter, he would get really happy. Once, when Lena was in the library, she was also trying to add some of her novels for recommendation, and she was writing a recommendation letter. But while writing, she rested her head on her hand and fell asleep. Jian saw her like that, and was about to leave, but he noticed her head was about to fall on the table, so he placed his hand to support her. Then he realized what he was doing, removed his hand, and let her sleep. Meanwhile, Jian read her letter and saw that it wasn't properly written, so he decided to write a better recommendation for her himself. The next day, her boss called her into her cabin and told her that the anniversary program for their company had been finalized. She mentioned that one of their writers' novels would be dramatized in the program. In the present, everyone was working when Juno said, "Lena will help me with my work." Lena replied, "Why would I?" Later, they met at a cafe. Lena tried to stop Juno from doing something, but he said, "You said we would work together on my novel." She reminded him that she had said that before their breakup, and Juno said, "We never actually broke up." Meanwhile, Jian was at Uncle Wak's office. As they spoke, they saw Juno and Lena outside the cafe. Uncle got angry and, "What is he doing with Lena?" Jian asked about it and was told that Juno was Lena's ex-boyfriend who had left for abroad. Juno held her hand, saying, "I know you still like me," but she pulled his hand away, saying she only wanted to talk about work. When he refused to let go, Jian stepped in, took Lena's hand, and said, "Your rubber band fell in my car yesterday, let's go get it." Lena smiled and agreed, and Jian led her away. They stood behind a wall, holding hands tightly. Juno, leaving, smiled slightly and drove off. Jian and Lena came out together, still holding hands tightly. Lena noticed and said, "Oh, you work with Uncle Wak too? My office is here as well." She started to walk away, but Jian held out his hand and asked, "Should I forget it too?" Lena laughed, freed her hand, and walked off. Back in her office, her boss told her to focus on work and handed her Juno's novel file, saying, "We want to turn this into an animated movie for our 10th anniversary. Do you want to do it?" Lena was about to refuse, but her boss added, "You've been waiting for this opportunity for years." Later, Jian is with his uncle and asks him who that man was. While handing him coffee, his uncle tells him that the man was Juno, Lena's ex-boyfriend. As soon as he hears this, he is completely shocked. At that moment, Jian suddenly remembers that back in school, Lena had written a letter to recommend Juno's book. He had written a very long and detailed recommendation letter to help her, and he had done all of that only because of Lena. Realizing this, Jian is left stunned. Uncle Wak is also shocked and asks him, "So you did all this for Lena?" Jian replies that it was not just that, he had done something even bigger. After this, the scene again shifts back to their high school days, where we see Jian was going to Seoul for a university interview. While leaving school, a bag suddenly fell in front of him, and Lena appeared from the bushes. She made an excuse that she was skipping class because she was not feeling well and was going home. At the bus terminal, Lena bought a ticket and got on a bus. Jian later boarded the same bus. When Jian bought a ticket to Seoul, Lena asked if the bus was going there. They ended up sitting together. Lena angrily asked why he was following her, and Jian said he did not know. When her stop came, she made him get down with her. She then took him to a military area, where she nervously prepared herself and said she had come to confess her love. We then see Uncle arrives at his office. His uncle tells him, "You've been promoted. You should head to headquarters soon." Jian replies that he isn't fully sure about it yet. That evening, Lena is walking behind Jian, intending to call out to him, but remembering the morning's events, she hesitates. At the same time, she notices Jian about to enter a shop, and she herself also goes inside. Before going in, she checks her reflection in the mirror. Seeing Jian looking at her, feeling confident, Lena decides to approach him and says, "We work in the same community, so we met here. Wanna go eat fried chicken?" We see both of them inside the fried chicken shop, joined by Yeji. Yeji jokes, "You're really Uncle Wak's nephew," which means this meeting was completely destined. Lena laughs, agreeing, "Yeah, that's totally true." Lena grabs her bag and excuses herself to the restroom. Jian watches her leave, silently. Yeji then asks, "Do you like Lena?" Jian doesn't respond, but she understands anyway. She presses further, "Did you like her since high school?" Jian gives a small smile, hinting yes. Just then, Lena calls Yeji, saying she's leaving, because she wants Yeji to spend time alone with him. Yeji asks if he's going back to the US, and though he doesn't answer. At home, Jian sees a message from his mom asking him to come back. He ignores it and lies down on the sofa, feeling a bit sad. Lena, outside, thinks Jian still hasn't returned. She wanted to tell Yeji a lot, but decides to leave it for now. Feeling a little sad, she goes inside and retrieves a box from under her bed containing a notebook filled with clippings and news about Juno. We see Jian getting into a taxi with his luggage, helped by his uncle. His uncle asks if he told anyone he's returning, and Jian replies, "We met, I said goodbye, that's all." Then Jian heads off toward the airport. The scene shifts to Yeji. She feels confused because she likes Jian, but he likes Lena. To clear her mixed feelings, she shares to Sun. He shares a funny story in response, making her laugh and easing her doubt. She realizes she shouldn't keep mixed feelings or jealousy toward her friend. Meanwhile, Jian is in a taxi, remembering past events at the military game. She recalls asking the guard about someone, but the guard says those people aren't there. Later, he tells Lena it's time to leave. She says they should eat ramen first, so they go to a ramen shop. At the shop, the lady serving warns them the noodles are slightly spicy. Lena takes a bite and starts crying, exclaiming how spicy it is. Jian teases her, saying she shouldn't be confessing like this, or else he'd complain that a teenager is dating a older guy. Lena playfully hits his head with a spoon and cries more. Lena insists she must confess her feelings today. Jian tells her they'll talk properly later, then goes to ask the guard about their friend's location. After much insistence, the guard reveals they went to the mountains due to an emergency and can't be contacted for 6 months. As they rush, Jian remarks quietly that if the person knew she was going to that place, they wouldn't even have sent her a letter. Their bus passes by, and they run to catch it, but Lena trips and falls. Jian helps her up, but in all the chaos, they miss the bus. The scene shifts back to Jian in the taxi. He receives a call from Yeji, who says Lena had an accident and asks if he can go to the hospital because she can't leave school due to an emergency. Jian immediately tells the driver to rush to the hospital. Once inside, he sees Lena unconscious on a bed, injured in the head and leg. Then the story flashes back to Lena's childhood. Her stepdad tells her mom that they should leave Lena either with her dad or in an orphanage because her mom is pregnant. Lena pretends not to hear it, sitting in front of the TV and forcing herself to smile. Back in the present, Lena opens her eyes in the hospital to find Jian holding her hand, sitting by her side. He explains that after the accident, she was brought to the hospital. Lena tells him he can leave, saying she doesn't want to bother him, but Jian places her hand on his chest so she can feel his heartbeat, showing he isn't leaving and is there for her. He asks Lena, "Do you still think all of this is just like that?" Jian watches her, confused. At that moment, a doctor arrives to check her and then takes her for a CT scan. Lena thinks to herself, yesterday he was being so rude to me. What's gotten into him? Maybe he is sorry for his behavior. Then she quickly reminds herself, why am I thinking so much? I'm Yeji's best friend. Meanwhile, we see Yeji finishing her class and going straight to her dad to get permission to visit Lena at the hospital. Then Sun arrives, and Yeji's dad tells him to go with her. As they reach the hospital, Yeji almost trips because of her high heel, but Sun catches her. She thanks him. He brings her shoes from the car, giving them to her and saying, "You'll be more comfortable in these." She smiles at him, happy. Jian then arrives with Lena after the CT scan. Lena tells him, "You don't need to do all this because of your behavior yesterday. I already forgave you, and you came here to take care of me." "Thank you." Hearing this, Jian laughs. We then see Lena with a neck brace and her leg in a cast due to a fracture. She has to walk with crutches. In the elevator, she asks Jian about Yeji. As he begins to explain, the elevator fills with people, forcing the two to stand very close. When they exit the elevator, Lena pulls Jian aside, saying, "Don't flirt with me. I know you live in the US, it must be a habit there, but I'm a more conservative type, so I feel uncomfortable." Before he can respond, Lena spots Yeji and runs to her crying. And Lena complains that she arrived late. Outside the hospital, Jian and Uncle Wok stand by the car. Yeji notices Sun nearby and gets an idea. She calls Sun over and tells Lena she is dating him, adding that Jian was just her first love. Sun confirms he has liked Yeji for a long time and went on a blind date with her to hide his feeling. He apologizes to Lena. Yeji says she wanted to tell Lena this yesterday but couldn't because Lena left suddenly, so she had Jian explain everything. Lena says, "We'll discuss the rest on the way." Yeji adds, "It will be inconvenient for you to go in the car with us. Just go with Jian. He's heading home now and he can drop you off. Don't let him go upstairs yet. Your leg is injured. You have many rooms at home, so keep her with you for now." Yeji then says, "Uncle Wok, you have to go to the office, right? Let us drop you there in our car." At first, he refuses, but when he realizes that everyone wants the two of them, Jian and Lena, to spend time together safely, he finally agrees and leaves with them. Jian watches from a distance, smiling at how everyone is secretly planning to bring them closer, but poor Lena is extremely confused. She wonders why everyone is suddenly behaving this way and doesn't know how to react. With no other choice, she ends up going with Jian in his car. She pretends to sleep so she can avoid talking to him. However, just then, her boss calls her phone, forcing her to answer it. Meanwhile, Yeji talks to Uncle and says she is not dating Sun, surprising him. Sun had been pretending for a long time, and he had secretly liked Yeji, but never had the courage to tell anyone. At the same time, Lena ends her office call and explains that she had a meeting that day, but due to her accident, she couldn't attend it. None of the employees could reach her, and this caused a lot of confusion. Jian jokes with her, asking if she still skips meetings like she skipped school back in the day. Back to scene where Jian stops to fix his shoe in a certain spot, but slips and accidentally falls into a muddy waterhole. Lena notices that Jian is missing and immediately panics. She calls out for him. Jian replies from inside the waterhole, asking her to help him. At first, Lena laughs at his awkward situation, but then she becomes serious and tries to find something to pull him out. In the meantime, Jian's phone, which was in his pocket, gets damaged by water. He takes out a photo from his pocket, one he had taken from the school notice board, which also includes Lena. He looks at the photo and quietly decides not to get involved in any more mischief with her, placing it back in his shirt pocket. Suddenly, the sound of frogs startles them. Jian warns Lena not to go alone, and she agrees to stay close. But Lena, in a hurry, slips and also falls into the muddy waterhole. Jian scolds her, saying she should have thought carefully and calls her an idiot, but clarifies that he didn't mean it seriously. He also questions how she could jump without taking her phone. Lena tries to climb out using a small patch of grass, but the grass breaks, causing Jian to fall deeper into the water. Lena panics, realizing he is fully submerged and not responding, so she jumps in to check on him. She notices a frog near her ear, and Jian laughs nervously, teasing her about being scared of a frog. Both of them laugh, a little despite the situation. Later, recalling these moments together, Lena can't stop laughing. Jian says, "I guess you remember now." Lena almost forgot because she tends to forget bad memories quickly. Jian points out that those were bad memories, but they were shared memories between the two of them. Finally, they reach home. Jian helps Lena out of the car, but she insists she can manage herself. While walking to the stairs, she almost slips, but Jian catches her in time. He says, "As long as I'm here, I won't let you fall." Then he asks, "Should I carry you up?" Just as she almost slips again, Jian quickly supports her from behind, catching her firmly. She smiles softly and says, "Nice cat." He carries her carefully inside the house and lays her gently on the bed, making sure she is comfortable. Jian tells her she needs to take her prescription, but she insists she will take it tomorrow. He doesn't argue. Instead, he firmly gives her the prescription, ensuring she takes it properly this time. As she settles, a card slips out from her bag and falls quietly onto the floor. Meanwhile, Yeji, Sun, and Uncle Wok are sitting in Sang-pil's shop, eating together. Yeji curiously asks about a combination on the menu. Sun asks who they are, and Yeji explains that Uncle Wok is not only Lena's landlord, but also connected to Jian's family. Back at Lena's place, she wakes up to find Jian standing beside her. She asks what he wants for dinner, and he responds you. He leans closer and turns off the light, as if to kiss her. However, this was just a dream in her dream. She had been preparing herself to pucker up. She suddenly realizes what she is imagining and exclaims nervously, "Evil spirit, go away." Feeling uneasy, she decides to go upstairs with her luggage. It's difficult to climb, so she begins crawling slowly. Suddenly, Jian appears and insists on carrying her upstairs himself, refusing to let her struggle. He brings her food and medication, which she gratefully accepts, saying, "Thank you. You're really a good person. Maybe all the memories I had of you were wrong." Jian tells her to rest now and call him in the morning. Lena wonders if he is angry, but then recalls her dream and laughs to herself, hoping the evil spirit stays away. Meanwhile, Jian reflects in his room, thinking about how many times she might reject him before he can confess his love. At that moment, a call comes from a friend in the US, reminding him that he should already be on a plane. His eyes fall on the fallen card. It reads the name of the animated production company where Lena works as a producer. He smiles knowingly, realizing she's busy, and tells his friend that he is not leaving yet. The scene then shifts to Jian, who, looking at the card, drifts into a flashback. Lena, teasingly, suggests that to stay awake, they play truth and dare. Anyone whose secret is boring or who seems sleepy gets a finger flick punishment. Lena starts, revealing, "My Juno is extremely handsome," which makes Jian tap her lightly on the head, joking, "This is so boring, I'm falling asleep." Then it's Jian's turn. He confesses that he got a question wrong on his math paper, which makes her laugh. She shares her own mishap, admitting she got the last rank in English because she ticked every second option, none of which were correct. She even went to the teacher about it. Jian is speechless, stunned by her honesty. Encouraged, Jian asks her to punish him, claiming he has nothing more shocking to confess. Finally, he reveals her secret dream to become an animation director. No one else knows, and he can't do it immediately. Lena says, "I'll fulfill your dream." Jian smiles and says it won't be easy, but she confidently replies, "Nothing worthwhile is easy. When I become an animation director, I'll give you 5% of my salary." The next morning, Lena wakes up chatting with Yeji and Sang-pil in the group, who ask how she slept. She admits she only had porridge yesterday, so she's hungry. Yeji adds Jian to the chat, and he reads her message while preparing breakfast. He tells her to come downstairs if she's hungry, but she says she'll stay put. Jian then says he'll bring the food up, prompting her to rush downstairs eagerly. He serves the meal, and she praises it, noting it's perfectly cooked and not too salty. Jian remembers asking Sang-pil about her preferences and brings her a sweet, mentioning tiramisu. She eagerly accepts it because Yeji had once said it was her favorite. She tells him about her past heartbreak when her ex left without warning and how she was devastated. He listens carefully, smiling as she explains that she met him during the blind date. She asks how their progress is going, wanting Lena to be happy. Jian replies that she considers him just a school friend, so for now, he remains as a friend. Later, after dessert, as Lena is leaving, Jian stops her and jokingly asks when she'll give him the 5% of her salary she promised. She laughs, recalling the time she fell into the mud hole, explaining that her mind wasn't fully working, so she just said it. She starts to go upstairs to get her laptop. Jian tries to help, but she refuses. At that moment, Juno appears, having learned that Lena is on leave. He tells her, slightly amused, "I heard your meeting was delayed due to your accident, but it seems you're with Jian instead. Is this your attitude toward work?" Jian is about to respond, but Lena stops him and approaches Juno, apologizing, "I'm sorry my presence caused a delay. If it's urgent, feel free to remove me from this project." "No matter what happens," Juno says softly, "you will always love me, no matter what." Lena quietly replies, "I've changed now. I'm not the same person I used to be." Just then, Juno tries to hold her hand gently, but she quickly pulls it away and says firmly, "If you hold my hand again, I'll slap you. And you know exactly why I'm doing all this." She starts climbing the stairs slowly, wincing in pain with every step because of her injured leg. Juno watches her and leaves sadly. Lena finally reaches the top, opens the door, and sits outside because the pain is too much. Tears start rolling down her cheeks as she quietly cries. At that moment, Jian arrives and sits down beside her. He asks gently, "Why do you need to be so tough? Your leg must be hurting so much." She nods and says, "Yes, it hurts a lot. And I'm also embarrassed that you're witnessing such bad moments of my relationship." Jian smiles softly and replies, "I'm actually happy. Watching your failed romance makes me feel nostalgic, like when we both fell into that puddle together. It reminds me of how we've been through so much together." She shakes her head and says, "Don't bring up all that past stuff again. I just want to forget it completely." Jian places his hand gently on her shoulder and says, "Recover quickly from your leg injury and also from your broken heart." Then, with care, he leans in and gives her a soft, comforting kiss. Later, we see Jian thinking to himself, "Memories are not unstable. They always stay with one person." Then we flash back to the puddle scene. Jian is so sleepy that he rests his head on Lena's shoulder. Her heartbeat speeds up, and she thinks nervously, maybe this is because he fell suddenly, but does this mean I feel something for him? The story then moves back to 2013, during their high school days. Jian is standing at a bus stop, waiting. Across from him, sitting alone, is Lena. Seeing her, Jian feels extremely happy and even brought something small for her as a gift. Suddenly, his mom calls him on the phone. "We're going to the US," she says. Jian looks worried. "What about my school?" he asks. She smiles, "You can continue schooling there. I never change my decision. Now, come home." Jian looks sadly at Lena as he prepares to leave. Lena notices him too, holding a paper. Her face lights up with excitement, and she says, "Wait, I'm coming." She crosses the road, hurrying toward him, but just at that moment, Jian's bus arrives. He gets on, leaving her behind, and she watches him go with a mixture of disappointment and hope. Returning to the present, Jian tells Lena, "I'm really happy that your previous relationship ended. Now, recover quickly from your leg injury and your heartbreak." He gives her another gentle kiss. Lena closes her eyes, feeling both comforted and embarrassed. Her phone suddenly rings, snapping her back to reality. She pushes him gently and says, Don't prank me like this again. Jian chuckles. I'm not pranking. I like you. I liked you even 10 years ago, and I still do. Lena is shocked. We never had anything, and we never will. We are just friends, she says firmly. Jian smiles knowingly. But we just kissed. How can we be only friends after that? He gives her space and says, think about it calmly, before walking away. Sang-pil is in his restaurant, peeling onions when Lena suddenly arrives. She insists on helping, even though he refuses. They end up peeling onions together, laughing. Lena peels so many that Sang-pil almost collapses. Then she asks him, why did you never date anyone? He says, I asked you many times in high school to introduce me to someone, but you never did. Until now, Sang-pil says he won't date anyone until his restaurant is settled. Meanwhile, Jian is washing dishes and daydreaming about the moment he kissed Lena. He's smiling uncontrollably when Uncle Wok walks in, noticing his happy expression. Why are you so cheerful? He asks, frustrated. I requested to transfer you to headquarters temporarily, but they refused. You'll need to go to the US for a transfer. Jian asks how long it takes, and Uncle Wok replies, 1 or 2 months. Jian shakes his head. Then I won't go back. Uncle Wok exclaims, what? Would you quit your job for your first love? Do you think it's worth it for Lena? You don't even know if you'll be together. Here Yeji asks, son, are you free tomorrow? I'll take you for lunch since you helped me yesterday. He hesitates, but they both realize their afternoons are free. She smiles. Then you're mine tomorrow, and walks away. At restaurant, Sang-pil tells Lena about Jian arriving. Lena, realizing this, yells at Sang-pil for calling him. She leaves hurriedly, leaving her unfinished meal behind. When Jian arrives, Sang-pil explains, your name scared her off, making Jian feel a little sad. Meanwhile, Lena waits at the bus stop, remembering the old times when Jian had stood across from her at another bus stop. She stops herself, thinking, why am I even thinking about this now? Once on the bus, Juno sent her message that if you don't pick up, I'll remove you from the project. Lena doesn't respond, thinking calmly. Then, looking back at the road, she recalls how she had run across to meet Jian. But by that time, he had already left. The next day at school, she learns that Jian has gone to the US. Lena felt really sad when she dropped the paper about her career plan. Suddenly, Sang-pil appeared outside her house, shouting loudly and insisting that she join him on a trip. She hesitated, pointing at her tired state and saying, look at me, how can I go? I haven't even packed yet. But Sang-pil insisted, you've spent the last 10 years just at home, doing chores, and never really taking time for yourself. Now come with me. Uncle Wok is also coming, and today my restaurant is closed. Lena tried to explain. There's too much awkwardness between Jian and me right now, but he didn't listen. Later, we see Jian and Lena sitting together in the back seat of the car. Uncle Wok reclines his seat all the way back, leaving Jian to sit close to Lena. They stop at a small shop for some supplies. Lena says she wants to help, but Sang-pil refuses. Jian steps in to assist her, and they finally have a private moment outside. Lena whispers, let's pretend nothing happened yesterday. This situation is so awkward. Jian smiles warmly. I actually like it. Right now, I only exist in your mind. She blushes slightly, her face warming, and heads to the restroom, washing her face and telling herself, ignore him. Just enjoy this trip. She returns, smiling, and offers to drive. Sang-pil agrees, saying he's tired, but Jian insists on driving himself, leaving her happy but slightly disappointed. As she goes to sit in the back, Uncle Wok sits there, so Lena ends up in the front with Jian. Sang-pil and Uncle sleep in the back. Lena leans forward to see the beach view outside the car, getting more excited with every passing moment. She nudges Uncle Wok and Sang-pil, exclaiming, we're almost there. Once they arrive at the homestay, they unpack their belongings. Sang-pil and Uncle Wok go fishing, while Jian is unpacking boxes. Lena reaches to help, but Jian gently grabs her hand, suggesting they go together. She pulls away, heading to her room and calling Yeji, asking her to come quickly. She complains, I hate Jian. Yeji teases her, saying she's feeling something else entirely. Here Miss Beck called Lena and told her that she would need to work at Juno's studio for a month. When Lena asked why, Miss Beck said firmly, I need the script quickly, and you're the only professional producer who can handle this. With that, she ended the call. By evening, they had gathered a large number of shells and other sea creatures. At the very end, they found an octopus, and as both of them tried to pull it out, Lena accidentally fell on top of Jian. For a moment, they just stared at each other. She quickly covered his mouth with her hand, worried that he might kiss her again. When she looked up, all the shells they had collected fell into the water. Jian shouted at her, frustrated, all our hard work is ruined. He tried to pick them up, but she ran away, laughing and embarrassed. By the time they returned, Yeji and Sun had also arrived. Yeji was furiously crushing garlic for cooking. Lena took her aside to talk to her and calm her down. Yeji explained to Lena that Sun wasn't her real boyfriend, she had just used him as an example so Lena would consider Jian more. Yeji smiled, feeling happy and a little relieved. Meanwhile, everyone returned and sat at the dinner table. Yeji joined Sun, while Lena sat with Jian. Before eating, they all clicked photos together and enjoyed the meal. Later, we saw a flashback of Lena as a child, smiling while watching cartoons. Her mother came out, telling her to stay home, and when Lena asked if she could go somewhere, her mother refused and left. Lena cried and ran outside to find her mother, only to realize her mother had already left. Then, the scene shifted to Juno leaving for the airport. Lena tried to stop him, but he wouldn't listen. Frustrated, she shouted, "Don't come into my dreams again." Then she noticed Jian arriving with his luggage. He asked, "If you're not stopping me, should I really go back?" Just then, Lena woke up. She looked around the house, everyone was gone. Meanwhile, in a car, the four of them were on the road, returning somewhere. Uncle Wok received a call from Jian's mother. Jian brought breakfast for Lena and asked, "Where did everyone go?" He smiled and replied, "They already left. We had some time, so I thought we could have breakfast before heading out." As he set the table, Lena remembered her dream and whispered, "I don't want you to go to the US." Jian immediately held her hand and said, "I'm not going anywhere." She leaned closer and kissed him softly, and in return, Jian kissed her back passionately. The scene then shifted back to Juno leaving Lena earlier. She had been shouting and trying to stop him, but he thought to himself through his tears, "I'll come back after writing a good novel. Wait for me." Returning to the present, after their kiss, Lena stepped back a little and Jian said, "Now you can't back away." She laughed and said, "I'm not backing away. I just need a little time to get used to all this, because we haven't spent much time like this before. Before, we weren't even this close." Jian chuckled and nodded, understanding her point. At the restaurant, both kept glancing at each other. Lena quickly looked away and said, "I won't be able to digest my food if I keep staring at you." Jian smiled and said, "It's okay. You can look at me. I should get used to it too." During lunch, Jian's phone rang several times. It was Uncle Wok calling, but he ignored it. In the evening, they returned home. On the way, Jian felt a little hungry, while Lena wasn't. She offered, "I can send you to a good restaurant for dinner." Before she could leave, Jian grabbed her hand and said, "Don't you think I'm hungry because I want to have dinner with you?" They got closer, their faces just inches apart. Uncle Wok noticed from the back and thought, "Are they about to kiss?" He encouraged them to continue, but Jian gently pulled Lena inside. Uncle Wok followed, joking, "It seems like your wish has finally come true. Are you really resigning?" Jian nodded, confirming it, and went to take a shower. While he was in the shower, Uncle Wok told him that his mother had called to discuss his decision. Jian admitted, "You were right. I like Lena too much. That's why I don't want to go back to the US." Uncle Wok, surprised, said, "You can't be my nephew, yet all you thought about are numbers and work." Jian shot him an angry look, but couldn't hide his feeling. Uncle Wok continued, "Your mom managed everything after your dad passed and took care of this company. Don't you think she'll want you to see the US at least once?" Jian smiled and sprayed water at Uncle Wok to chase him away, not wanting to tell Lena just yet. After shower, he called Lena, asking, "Are you asleep?" She said, "No, don't come up. I'm tired and just resting." Jian walked up the stairs anyway and stopped when she asked him not to come. He smiled and said, "Did I tell you I like you?" She blushed, smiled, and softly said, "Yes." Jian confessed his love once more, and Lena, shy and overwhelmed, whispered bye and ended the call. The next morning, Uncle Wok peeked in to see Jian already at work. He asked, "Did you stay up all night?" Jian shook his head, "I couldn't sleep." Uncle Wok commented, "Either you're very stressed or very excited." Jian just smiled. Uncle Wok laughed, saying, "I've never seen you feel this single before." He called Lena for breakfast, but she said she couldn't come because she was shopping with Yeji. Yeji told Lena, "Today, you'll spend the entire day just with me," and Lena agreed happily. That evening, both girls were enjoying themselves at Sangpil's restaurant, getting their hair curled and laughing endlessly. As Jian waited outside later, she brought along Uncle Wok, who was completely drunk. She explained to Jian, "I found them outside, so I brought them along." Seeing this, Jian lifted him onto his back to take him inside. The next day, both Lena and Jian were preparing for their first official date, picking out outfits and trying them on carefully. Later, Lena stepped out and Jian arrived to pick her up. They noticed Yeji sitting on a bench. Yeji sent a message to check on Sun's health and whether he had taken his medicine. Meanwhile, Lena suggested, "Why don't you go see Mr. Sun and bring him something to eat?" On the road, Yeji appeared and told Sun's mom that she had come to check on Sun because he wasn't feeling well. She said, "I'm glad you came to see him," and started asking Yeji many questions about herself and her family. But then Sun shouted, "There's nothing between us." Hearing this, his mom felt a bit sad, and Yeji also felt bad. Elsewhere, Jian was taking Lena somewhere in his car. He asked her, "What do you like about me?" She replied, "I don't know," which made him a little angry. Then he took her to an exhibition, with Lena walking ahead and Jian following behind. She thought to herself, he doesn't even know the answer. Jian walked closer and said, "I don't even know what exactly I like about you, because you never gave me a chance to get close." Lena teased him, "You never did either." Both smiled, feeling happy. Just as they were about to share a moment, Jian got a call from Uncle. He quickly cut it, but then Uncle called Lena's phone. She answered, and he told her there was an emergency, so Jian had to drop her off quickly. Jian spoke to her mother about getting his resignation approved, but she refused. She said, "You've always listened to me, so why are you suddenly changing? You need to make your own decisions, but I'm too tired now. We'll talk tomorrow." She went to her room, leaving Jian thinking about everything. The next day, Lena prepared a script for the Juno's book project and left home. First, he went to meet Jian, but Jian wasn't there. Jian called him asking, "Do you remember our date tonight?" Lena agreed, saying they would meet after work. Meanwhile, Jian's mom was also preparing to leave, and both of them got into the car heading to the office. On the way, Jian mentioned to his mom, "Look, not everything has changed here yet." At the office, Uncle Wok was trying to calm his employees, telling them not to be nervous, but he himself was extremely anxious because Jian's mom was visiting that day. When she arrived, everyone welcomed her warmly. Jian quietly told her later. The three of them went to discuss work at the office. Jian's mom asked about his house and mentioned that she would be staying nearby for a few days to work as well. Jian quickly told her, "You don't have to do this because of me. I won't change my decision." She replied, "I won't go back alone either." The scene then shifted back to the 2023 bus stop. Jian's mom stood nearby and called him, noticing how he was watching Lena. As Lena crossed the road to meet him, Jian had already left. Back in present, Juno asks, "Can you forgive me?" Lena didn't respond. Juno shouted, "I was sick." Lena explained firmly, "Do you know I waited 3 years to understand why you left? I blamed myself, wondering what I did wrong, just like when my mom left me. But now I realize, no matter the reason, you left me. I am dating someone else, and we're not breaking up," and walked away. Lena then told her boss that she couldn't continue with the project. Across the road, Jian called out to Lena. At first, she told him to stay put, but then she ran over, thrilled, and hugged him tightly. Laughing, she said, "You're late." Jian quickly came up with an excuse about traffic, making her giggle. She immediately declared, "Today, you're spending the whole day with me." They spent the whole day playing games, laughing, and having fun. As they were heading home, Lena remarked, "We spent so much money on the games today, but it was totally worth it. I had so much fun." Jian nodded, smiling, "Me too. All my stress just vanished." He then confessed, "I quit my job." Surprised, she asked, "Did you do it because of me? Because I told you not to go to the US?" Jian shook his head, smiling, "No, it's not because of you. Trust me." Lena smiled and said, "Okay." Suddenly, a taxi arrived, and Jian's mom stepped out. Seeing her, Lena let go of Jian's hand. Jian held Lena's hand and said, "Mom, this is my girlfriend." Lena quickly stepped aside, saying she didn't want to make the situation awkward. Meanwhile, at home, Jian's mom noticed all the changes in the house. He called Uncle Wok in a hurry, demanding answers. Jian explained that he had stopped because of Lena, but his mom said she knew everything about him and asked if this was the reason he stayed. Jian denied it. Jia's mom said, "Stop booking hotels for us, we'll stay here from now on." That night, she sneaked back home. On the stairs, Jian was already waiting for her. He pulled her close and hugged her. Lena whispered, "Your mom is here." Jian nodded. "Yes, she came suddenly this morning." "Did that scare you?" Lena admitted, "Yes, I thought she might not like me." Jian laughed softly. "She's like that. Don't worry." Jian then said, "I'm so happy we get to spend more time together now," and they hugged again. The next day, Jian got ready and went to Sang Pil's restaurant. Jian, being handsome and helpful, ended up assisting Sang-pil with running the restaurant. Jian received a message from Lena. She wanted to eat something nice at Sang-pil's restaurant today. Jian couldn't help but smile. Meanwhile, Uncle Wok says you can't control your son. Why are you taking your anger out on them? But Jian's mom blamed him anyway. Uncle Wok could only shake his head. Meanwhile, Lena called Jian, saying she was changing her dress and to have the food ready. As she hung up, Lena went downstairs when she finds Jian's mom. She brought her inside for a serious conversation. She said, "My son will run my company one day. That's why I brought him here to the US." Lena replied firmly, "This should be Jian's decision, not yours." Jian's mom nodded. "His decision is mine too." But Lena protested. "Do you know how he forced me to stay with him after my accident? Even when I didn't want to. He said he was happy my breakup happened and kissed me anyway." Her mom warned her, "You know how many girls he's flirted with before. He changes girls easily, so don't hurt yourself. Break up quickly if it doesn't feel right." Lena rolled her eyes. All right. I'm leaving now." As she walked away, she added, "Do you know what Jian is missing because of you?" Lena explained, "He's calculating everything carefully. That's why he quit his job. He knows my worth." Meanwhile, Jian and Yeji were waiting at Sang-pil's restaurant, but Lena hadn't arrived yet. Growing impatient, Jian went outside to call her. Rushing to Lena's place, Jian found her lying on the outdoor bench. As he approached, he received a letter from Juno. He picked it up and went upstairs to ask Lena what she was thinking. She mentioned some girls' names and said that one of them was Jian's ex-girlfriend. Jian was shocked and about to speak, but she asked, "Why didn't you tell me about all this? Did you just flirt with me too?" Jian reassured her, "Trust me, I'm not like that." Lena countered, "Your mom came all the way to bring you back. How am I supposed to trust you? You almost left without telling me." Jian said, "I told you I'm not going anywhere." Jian reminded him about Juno. "Why didn't you tell me you were working on a project with him?" She insisted, "There's nothing between us. I cleared everything before, but you don't even trust me." Jian replied, "I saw you crying over him. How could I ignore that?" Lena, frustrated, walked silently to her room. The next morning, Jian woke up on the sofa after a night of drinking. In a messy state, he got up for water and sleeps again. Elsewhere, Sang-pil went to Jian's house to cook some dishes for him. Jian told him about everything that had happened the previous day. Sang-pil advised, "When she talks about her ex, you should just pretend. Don't make it awkward." Jian replied, "No one matters in his life except Lena. I like only her." Sang-pil showed Jian his high school photos, explaining that Lena had once fainted but never gone to the hospital, and how she had dreams of everyone leaving her. She just wanted to say goodbye, but no one stayed. Jian recalled how she always said goodbye before leaving and remembered her words, "Tell me when you go, so I won't wait for the person unnecessarily." Sang-pil added, "Everyone has fears from their past. For Lena, this is hers." The scene then shifted to the school where Sun blurted out, "I love you." Yeji's face lit up, and she whispered back, "I love you," and they kisses. Jian was sitting on the outdoor bench when his mom arrived, asking him to come inside. He hesitated and asked, "Have you ever regretted missing this place?" She shook her head, but Jian continued, "When I was upset, I'd think about moments here. Coming back, I realized I missed this place and you, Lena. That's how I've held myself together through tough times." Lena, seeing that it was already 6 p.m., rushed home to meet Jian. On the way, she almost collided with a scooter, but Jian appeared just in time to save her. He said, "I was coming to you anyway." She looked at him with tearful eyes. Then, Jian and Lena apologized to each other. Lena admitted, "I didn't shout at you because I didn't trust you. I was anxious and wanted to place all my past fears on you." Jian simply kissed her and smiled. Jian then offered to walk Lena home. At her doorstep, she tried to insist he go inside first, but he said, "No, you go in first." She opened the door and asked, "Do you want ramen?" He said yes and followed her inside. As she arranged the bed, Lena warned, "You might feel cold." Jian thought she meant for him to sit on the bed, but she handed him a blanket instead. Then she asked which ramen he wanted, and they sat together choosing their meal. They were very close when Lena suddenly shouted, "Jian teased, thinking about something besides ramen?" She denied it, but he warned, "Then don't give me wrong ideas while we're close." While making ramen, Jian prepared water for her, and Lena went to stand a little away before sitting on a cardboard box beside him. He suggested she sit on a chair, but she refused. Eating together, she praised him. "You're talented at everything. Are you really not going to the US?" He said, I just want to live a normal life with you. Lena replied that would be hard, and as she almost fell, Jian caught her, but he also fell. She was on top of him, and he joked, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" She denied it. "Then you'll have to take responsibility," he said, kissing her. She put her hand over his mouth, saying, "First, let's eat ramen." The next morning, Lena and Jian came downstairs. As they reached the bottom, Jian's mom appeared. They froze, but she didn't say anything and walked away. Lena followed her and apologized for yesterday, and Jian's mom leaves. In the next scene, Jian is having a serious discussion with a man at an investment company. The man asks, "Does your mom know you're doing this? She won't let you go so easily." Jian replies confidently, "She knows how capable I am. I've already proven myself." Next, we see Lena and Jian lying in bed together. Jian is just gazing at her, but she tells him to read his book. He admits softly, "I'm more interested in watching you than reading anything right now." She blushes deeply and hides her face behind the book. Lena gently touches Jian's face, and he holds her hand. They fall asleep together. Jian left in mourning. Then Lena notices snowfall outside her window. She thinks Jian has come, but it's actually his mom. She invites them in, but sees the fridge is empty and says, "I don't have much to offer." She also admits she doesn't have much time and hands Lena an envelope. Meanwhile, Jian notices a suitcase in the house. His mom tells him she's going to the headquarters, but suggests they have lunch together before she leaves. Over lunch, she clarifies that her trip to the US wasn't because of Jian's dad. It was about opportunities and potential for their family. In reality, Jian's dad had an affair, which led to his mom divorcing him. He later apologized, but she never forgave him, which is why she moved to the US and was reluctant to return to Korea. Next, we see Lena visiting all the places she went with Jian. The envelope she received contains a card from Jian's mom, offering her a chance to come to the US and stay with Jian and his mom. "My son is ready to leave everything behind to stay with you. Can you leave everything behind to be with him there?" Lena thinks deeply about all of this. Meanwhile, Jian was at the taxi, loading his mom's groceries. She looked at him seriously and said, "I'll wait for both of you in the US." He rushed Lena's house, hoping to find her, but she wasn't there. Back at home, Lena lay on the floor, flipping lights on and off, lost in thought. The next day, Sun says to Yeji, "I will marry her." He told her dad confidently, making both of them smile and relax. Later, Lena called Jian to meet at school. They walked together, holding hands. "Will you go to the US with me?" Jian asked softly. "I can't stay away from you." Lena's eyes filled with tears. "I like you so much, but I just can't go there," she whispered. Jian held her hands tightly. "I understand. Your friends, family, everything you care about is here. I'll go to the US, but I promise I'll come back to you. I'll follow my dreams, but I'll return to your world." Lena hugged him tightly. Before leaving for the US, Jian and Lena spent precious moments together. Lena fell asleep on Jian's shoulder. The next day, Jian tried calling her, but she was busy. Sang-pil and Uncle Wok helped Jian into a taxi. He was leaving for the US, then they asked about Lena. Jian said she was busy working, but they had already spoken on the phone, and she promised to catch up later. At the airport, Jian sat alone, feeling sad and worried about leaving. Suddenly, Lena appeared with her luggage, dressed warmly. Jian was surprised and happy. "You're here," he said. She smiled and said, "I couldn't miss this. I'm coming with you on your long vacation." They hugged tightly and shared a romantic kiss.